and welcome to the Abundology Podcast. My name is Renee Spears, and I'm here with my good friend, Linda Cohen, who is a professional speaker and a kindness catalyst.
Yes.
I just love that, kindness catalyst, because it fits you too.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have done the Monday morning money manifesting group for years.
Years, I know.
Yeah, years.
I have to say, like maybe 8 years or something.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Decade?
So it's been kind of cool for both of us to see our evolution over these past,
Totally.
few years.
Yeah.
And you evolved into doing more of this professional speaking,
Yep.
which is your main gig now.
Yes, it
and
is.
one of the big things you talk about is kindness.
Right.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when you and I met, I was still a stay-at-home mom. I
Yeah.
was working on my book that came out in 2012 during that time together. And I thought I needed to get a job too, because I think at some point I wasn't sure I could make the entrepreneurial thing work.
Sure.
But I have, so that's been exciting. So my main thing now is being a professional keynote speaker. I speak at a lot of conferences, I speak for businesses, and I talk about this idea of kindness. Now, you may remember my original word was mitzvahs.
Oh, that's right.
Because my book was called 1,000 Mitzvahs, but shortly into being a speaker, I kind of realized that was going to keep me kind of narrow, and I didn't want to be narrow. So the word kindness really resonates for the universe as opposed to mitzvahs, which I think is a kind of a Jewish word.
Yeah, exactly.
Which still means an act of kindness, a good deed, but
I think people aren't as familiar with that word.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually get to help educate them when I'm in the audience. If it's okay with the meeting planner, I'll still talk about how I got into becoming the kindness catalyst, which is usually how I tell my story.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we had talked a little bit before you got here about kindness in the workplace.
Totally.
And you have some great ideas and thoughts about this.
Exactly.
For everybody, from
Exactly.
boss down to customer.
Totally. Well, I think one of the funnest things that I've created is this Economy of Kindness workshop. Economy of Kindness, how kindness transforms your bottom line. And when I bring this to a business and an organization, we do lots of interactions, because that's how I like to run a keynote.
Yeah, it's your fun, too.
It's not me talking, it's me engaging with whoever
Exactly.
my audience is. But I created this one quadrant, which is really looking at, can you be a kindness catalyst no matter what position you have in the organization? And I believe you can. I believe you don't have to be the CEO or the president to be a kindness catalyst. So,
Well, and that's kind of been the thinking, that everything
Yeah.
comes from the top.
top leadership.
Yeah,
up and-
exactly.
yeah.
But that you're finding that that's not
I'm
necessarily
finding
true.
that you don't have to only be that person. Sure, there's a role for the manager and the manager. So the way I created this quadrant, it's like manager to the employees. That's one place we start. But there's also the employees to each other. And what kind of kindness can you be the catalyst for to a fellow employee, to another coworker? Of course, there's lots of those. And then how about when you do customer service to your clients or your families or whoever you're serving? And then what about them back to you?
Yeah.
Is there a way that they can also, we're always quick to give bad feedback when we get a bad experience. Are we ever quick to give good feedback? And I kind of encourage that as well. So
Yeah, that's a good point, because I very seldom complain unless it's a big deal.
Right.
But I never really say that somebody did something good. I mean, I'll tell the person in the moment.
Yeah.
But
do you ever call their manager over?
no, but that would be
Oh.
the fabulous thing to do.
It's incredibly. I've actually had it happen where I remember being in Vermont. We were traveling for pleasure, visiting my stepmom and my family, and we'd had a guy at the hotel who'd been super helpful. I mean, I think we'd stayed there 3 days, and every day he'd run to get whatever we needed. And at the end of the visit, I said, can I talk to your manager? And he's like, why?
Oh,
He's kind of nervous. And I
gosh.
was like, because you've been amazing and I really want to let them know. So in that case, I talked to the manager and she said, will you fill out the survey when you get it? And I'm like the worst. I get those surveys and I'm like, are they going to do anything with this survey? Is this something
Right.
really going to happen? And in that case, she said, we give them a $25, gift card or reward for any comments that we get back. So I was like, well, yeah, I'll definitely fill out that survey. But I often try to go to the person above whoever served me to
Yeah.
give good, and I encourage people to do that.
Well, now that you say that,
You probably
I know it. Now that you're saying that, oh yeah, I do that.
I know you,
we
Renee.
had the Rose City holiday luncheon many years
Yeah.
at Paragon, which is now out of business.
Oh.
Such a bummer. But multiple times our service was so fantastic
Sure.
that I would say, "Can I talk to your manager?" And you're right.
They get nervous.
People are just used to
Yeah.
it being bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, then when I'd say, "Oh, they did so great,"
Exactly.
you know how it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's often the easiest one that I think about in terms of how we can give back. And I encourage organizations to put a sign in their workplace that says, if we've given you excellent service, let us know. You know, any of those little things that can be cues to your clientele or to your organization to let us know. So one of the most exciting things that happened in this workshop, I do an interaction where I ask about companies that people like to go to. You know, what kind of places do you love that you feel like they have a culture of kindness? Can you think of one in the Pacific Northwest? I mean, if I don't know where all of your listeners are from, but probably all over.
Yeah, Oliver, which is interesting,
Which is-
but for me it would be Nordstrom.
Okay, that gets mentioned, but
Yeah.
that is not the one that I had never heard of before.
Oh,
It's Les Schwab.
yes.
Everybody in
Schwab.
every audience, there would always be somebody who would talk about Les Schwab. I didn't know them because I had an auto shop right near my house, so I'd never been to Les Schwab. But I started digging into the organization, and really, Les Schwab, who began this company, you know, decades ago, really started a company that was forward thinking in the 80s and gave money back to his employees so that they would be self-sustaining and grow their companies. And the reason people remember them is because of the customer service they give.
So what are some of the things that you've heard that they've
Oh,
done?
they run out to your car and they greet you there and they, you know, give you a hand, open your door, you know, how can we help you? If you haven't even gotten service from them, they will absolutely stand behind and help you with anything, whether it's a flat tire, whether it's changing your wipers, whatever it is. But they're also located in many of them are located in small towns.
Yes.
So they have a real community feel and they support local business and people want to support them. So, I mean, it was amazing. I was in Eastern Oregon giving a talk to a community mental health organization of a few hundred people. And in one of those small towns, they mentioned Les Schwab. Well, by that afternoon, one of the people who'd been sitting in the audience had gone and told the local Les Schwab
I love
what
that.
had happened. And I happened to be on the main street at the end of the day. And I always kind of like to pop in to see some businesses. And I popped in and they go, they've already been talking about your conversation with them. So it was
that's
really
so
kind of cool, you know?
Which is one way that I love that kindness spreads.
Totally, there's a ripple effect.
There's a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you never know what it'll be. You don't know what that ripple effect might be on someone else, but there almost always is going to be one.
Yeah.
I had, this was so fun. So maybe 2 weeks ago, I was at Trader Joe's in Beaverton in my hometown, and I went to the Trader Joe's that I always go to, and one of my neighbors, who I do not know, I only know his face, was wearing a sign that said, you know, kindness. Maybe you saw it. I think you were
saw
on
the
my,
post,
I know. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. He's basically been doing kindness work also. He's a doctor. I think he's a PhD doctor who just has been doing kindness work in his own way all these years. And so I took a picture with him, but also after that, I engaged with the woman who took the picture, who's Kathy, who's been waiting on me forever. And I said, Kathy, do you remember? You probably don't, but maybe 10 years ago, it was my anniversary and I was here shopping and you had somebody run out with flowers and give them to me. And she was like, I didn't remember that, but you just made me so happy by reminding me.
Oh,
So it's just like, it's like the little things I always talk about. It doesn't have to be the big thing, but there can be a ripple effect. And that felt like a multiple ripple effect.
Yes.
You know, on so many levels. So talking about kindness in the workplace is just, it's a joy. I love it. I feel like the work I'm getting to do now really reminds me that we have so much amazing humanity in the world. And if you just turn down the media diet, and I know you love your news.
Oh, I love my news.
You love your news, but I think you're a special person because you can watch it and it doesn't affect you to the core.
I am a weirdo in that way, where I can kind of disconnect from.
I know.
I just want to know what's going on and not have it affect
Right.
not
but
affect
I don't
me.
think a lot of people can do that.
I
and I think
agree.
it really brings them down, and then they think that that's all that's happening in the
And
world.
as we know, that's most of what they have on the news is
true.
the bad stuff.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
17-1, I think, is the amount of bad stories to good stories.
17-1.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So
It's
they
not
show
more.
that one little happy story at the end. You have to wait
let's
through
throw one in
29
there.
minutes
That's so
of-
true, because the nightly news even has,
know.
30 minutes of the news, and then 10
one little-
seconds
I
at the
know.
end, a Boy Scout did something.
Exactly. So I feel like I get to be in this audience, and I get to, and one of the other sections I do is, name a time that you received a kindness from a coworker. And I've had the most amazing stories come up out of that. And sometimes it'll be another coworker who's in the audience, and they'll be like, "Can I say who it was?" And it just makes everybody feels happy. We all get those endorphins because we've just gotten to witness that good
Yes.
ripple effect. So.
Well, and one thing that I don't think bosses think of because you know
You were,
me,
yeah.
I tried to really
You were.
be a kind person
Yeah.
and nurture kindness in the relationship or in the workplace. And the side effect is that, like you've mentioned before, is you make more money. The people that are happy there, they're happy to come to work. I know some days when I was feeling kind of low, I would go to work to feel better. Just to hang around people.
That good energy
And
that you created.
That I created, but the people there created too. And then they're happy with their customers. The customers are happy there. Customers refer more people.
Absolutely.
It's just so simple.
Well, employee engagement and employee morale, they say, is always elevated by kindness. There's definitely statistics that talk about the fact that people like so recognition and acknowledgement, which I know you were amazing at, but I'm finding when I'm out in the workplace that isn't necessarily something that's done very often, or as often as I would think it would be done. I've even heard that it doesn't get done at every meeting, every huddle, every whatever weekly thing you have with your employees. Sometimes it doesn't happen then, and if it does, sometimes it happens at the end of the meeting. And so I've suggested, why don't you flip that around and start your meeting with some kind of kudos, something that's happened. Share a story, and I'm a big storyteller, obviously, as a speaker, so there's got to be stories, and people remember stories, and they help the statistics stay. So
and it makes your meeting so much more
so
fun.
much better.
Yeah, exactly. And you're starting off with positive energy,
Totally.
which a lot of times, let's face it, it's the you didn't hit the numbers, you didn't do that.
Right.
Oh yeah, but so and so did a good job.
Exactly.
Why don't we start off?
the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, I've heard that. Again, I think businesses that do this and recognize how important this is are finding that it's no longer like a soft skill, like, oh yeah, we can have, that when I started this work 10 years ago, we weren't really talking about kindness.
At all.
No, and people laughed at me, like, who's going to hire you to talk about kindness? I literally heard that 10 years ago. And you imagine now, nobody is asking that question. People are
No, you're in big demand.
I'm in big demand.
Yes.
And there's lots of speakers who have decided that kindness is something they want to add to their customer service or leadership platform. So I feel very lucky that I've been kind of moving forward with this information and this topic for so long, because now it's just how I love to live my life. So.
Well, it's ingrained in you. It's authentic. It's just who you are, which is the key to any successful business or even successful life. Is just being you.
Yeah, of course. When you have kids, they test your kindness.
Well, one of the things that I remember reading years ago about my kids, when I was, one of those parenting books that we all read, is if you tell somebody else how great your kid is or how great the job that they did and they overheard it, I don't remember the ratio, but it affected them so much more than if you just told them yourself.
Really?
So if they overheard you telling the neighbor, oh my gosh, Ryan helped rake the leaves, I'm so impressed with, or whatever,
right.
they really internalize that a lot more than if you just said, great job, honey, for raking the leaves.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So I will have to remember that. And I actually started thinking about the fact that, I've heard times when somebody else will tell you something about your kid, and that also helps you feel like, wow, that isn't how I'm feeling today about my kid.
Isn't that the truth?
So you're like, I'm glad they were nice at your house or helped you or whatever, because they're really not doing that at home today,
Yeah.
So, I shouldn't even say that. My kids are not both.
No. But as parents, we have all had days like that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So what about, Linda, some suggestions for just every day out in the world, especially now around the holiday season, but we want to do it all year long, of just kind things that you can do for the other humans that are out there?
I think in this holiday season, one of the biggest things you can do is be patient. Because I think at the holiday seasons, I often feel like we're rushing. We have all these things. I mean, I'm Jewish, so I don't have as many things on my to-do list for the holidays as you might, but people feel like very single focused and have all sorts of things they want to get done on that to-do list. And if you could just be a little more patient, that the lines are going to be longer, that your traffic's going to be longer, finding a parking spot. The Angels were really great today. I found a spot exactly where I wanted it. But, I think that patience could go a long way in this holiday season. I think that, like we talked about, letting someone know if they do give you great customer service, go that extra mile today, and if you see somebody who is, I think the holidays can be hard. I think there can be a lot of heaviness during the holidays too. If there's been loss for someone that reach out to them during this holiday season. Know that not everybody's experiencing it. Joy, happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could also be what you keep a radar on for. And maybe it's you. And if it's you, ask for some help. Don't be a martyr and don't feel like you can do everything and take on everything, and find a good friend that you can talk to.
I love that point. We think about being kind to other people, but being kind to ourselves clearly is just as important, if not more important.
And we talk about that a lot when we were doing Manifesting Money,
Yeah, exactly.
which is self-care,
Yeah.
And oftentimes, depending on where you are in your life, you may not be having the time or taking the time to do that for yourself.
But if you set the intention when you go out in the world of just, I'm going to be kind, holding the elevator, simple things like that.
Even I smiled at the two guys in the elevator today in the parking garage. Hi, how are you guys today? And they kind of look at you like, what weirdo is this? And I'm like, that's just how I like to interact with people. I know you do too.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
If they're having a bad day, then maybe you just made a little, like, there's a really great quote by Mother Teresa, and I can't exactly remember, but it's like, leave the world a little better than you found it.
A little better than you found it. I love that idea for just even going out. That should be something, will be something that I remember when I go out the door.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the world a little bit better. When I come back in, it's going to be a touch better than when I
smiled, because you engaged with somebody, because you talked with someone, because you gave
held
space.
the door, you let somebody to get the parking spot in front of you.
Yeah, you didn't stick your finger up when you were pissed off about something, which we've never done. I never honked my horn at anybody. I do tell a story about that, because I think that's the other thing is none of us is perfect. And when we have I know when I'm late or when I'm short on something, that's when my patience is the least abundant, and that's when I struggle with being as kind as I would like to be. And of course, when we mess up, we always have that opportunity. You don't even have to wait till tomorrow. You can just be better the next minute,
Yeah.
So, and giving yourself grace to do that, giving yourself grace and the place to do that.
Well, and clearly as parents too, there's been times when we've raised our voice at our kids or, never. But, I always tried to, in the moment, to say, I am sorry, I overreacted, I didn't mean to yell at you, and I didn't.
Exactly.
Just sometimes you're just like, so frustrated. And the same thing with people driving. I just think, honestly, people are in their own little worlds.
These days with our phones and our thoughts and whatever's going on in my life, just opening up that. I don't know, you're just talking about this reminded me of some other things you could do in the workplace, because I was thinking, I just posted this today on LinkedIn. I heard it on a recent podcast about massage therapists coming to the workplace. And I was like, wow, if you could still fit that in December, I don't know when you're going to air this show, but
next week, yeah.
Okay, I mean, if that would be the possibility to bring in a massage therapist, think of all the stress you could let, go.
Or even if you did it in January.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, after everybody is totally stressed and now we can relax a little bit.
Start 2020 with some self-care in the workplace. Another thing I posted recently was just about a Zen room. Did you have one of these at your mortgage? Or some silent room.
The McAdam office, we had like a meditation room.
Yeah.
So we would do like every day at 10 o'clock, we'd go in and we'd do it. Whoever wanted to join would do a 15-minute meditation. Okay. But you could use it other times if you wanted to.
Well, I'm thinking, I heard about an organization, Cascade Centers here in Portland, that just had us. They turned one of their rooms into sort of a silent space. They had a little sound machine, a little candle, and a little salt, and some music, and soft lighting. And it didn't cost more than $500 to create that. Nice. And they said that they could tell in the last 6 months that their employees are using that so much more, just for a break.
Just to think if you were stressed out that you had somewhere to go.
Exactly.
You could just, I need a timeout for 15 minutes.
Exactly. And I have a calm place in my office. I don't have to leave. I don't have to sit in my car.
Sit in my car. Exactly. Be all cold. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
So, other things just in the workplace, I think the recognition and acknowledgement, I don't know if that happens at holiday parties. I got wind recently that maybe holiday parties are on the decline. Do you know anything about it?
They are on the decline. I really do think that, the old-fashioned, let's all go to have a big party, bring your spouses.
Right.
Let's be real. A lot of people really didn't want to do that and kind of dreaded, that night. Like, I have to hang out with these people all week, If it wasn't healthy workplace, maybe
Yeah.
you didn't want to do that.
Right.
And two budgets.
Yeah.
Let's be real. You
Yeah.
know that
Costs money.
it does cost money.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes having activities that
Yeah.
you do together is so much more fun. But it's more team building.
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
And
did you guys volunteer in the holiday season at all?
we
as a
we
team?
volunteered all year long. We
yeah.
always do Raphael House, the volunteering.
Yeah.
You know, in the winter, which is great.
Right, and I think that helps build your team together, maybe more than a holiday party even.
I think so
You know?
too.
Yeah.
Or even having some sort of common goal
Yeah.
where you adopt a family or a school or something like that, and you bring the food and the trees and the presents and
Right.
gift cards and whatever it is that
And
they
I know
may
that
need.
was a big thing for you, for sure, in your
Yeah.
workplace. Yeah.
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 So I agree, though. I think that we could really practice more kindness in the workplace.
For sure.
Everybody. And employee to employee, coworker to coworker.
So I just did this today. One of the employee-to-employee suggestions that I make is Post-it notes or shout outs. So I know it sounds so silly, but I think that it makes a difference. And I have a colleague today who's a speaker was doing something today that she was nervous about. She was speaking to a high school group, co-ed, about anxiety and stress and depression. And while she is grounded and is, she's a shaman. I mean, she knows her work, but she was nervous about it. And
Sure.
so I talked with, did a little text last night, and she was telling me kind of about it. And this morning I made sure to write her a text and go, I know you've got this. And I know whoever needs to hear your message will be hearing you today. So I encourage, if you have a colleague or a coworker who's doing something, and whether I'm talking to nurses who are seeing a patient that's new for the first time, hospice care, who's dealing with somebody, or funeral directors, any organization that I'm talking to where there's a possibility that the coworker is doing something that's new, or they're scared of, or stepping out of their comfort zone, let them know that you know they have it.
Well, and that's a good reminder too for so many people that are solopreneurs now
Yes,
too. That we don't have coworkers
No, we
anymore,
don't.
but those are our coworkers.
They are.
They're having their first class, their first online podcast, their first
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that you get that. And I think part of it is if you give it out, you probably do get it. I mean, do you have thank you notes? I posted recently about thank you notes because I'm a huge proponent.
I have a whole drawer of thank you notes.
And people actually wrote back, and somebody took a picture of all the thank you notes she has on her desk and the file that she's saved.
Yes, and I saw your lovely picture of all the thank you notes that you had received
I know,
too.
I know,
Yes.
just like in a couple of months. So, but I hadn't thought about it until I was cleaning and getting ready for Thanksgiving. I was like, oh wow, look at that,
Yeah. So one of the places that I heard that impressed me the most of what they did kindness wise was Ruby Receptionist.
Yeah, what did you hear? I was just there recently.
Were you?
Yeah,
They have a whole gift area.
Yep.
And with everything, with dog toys, with if you're sick, they have a whole little
Get well.
sickness kit,
Yep.
get well kit.
Yep.
Everything. They have unlimited budget. To do whatever they want. So if they're talking to a client on the phone and the client's like, "Oh, I'm not feeling that well today," they have this all set up.
Yep.
They go over, they take the wellness kit, wrap it up, they get in the mail the next day.
Yep.
Or if they something had happened and somebody had passed away, they have flowers delivered.
Right.
Or a new puppy.
They're set up to do the recognition and the wow customer service right there.
They are.
with everything that they have. I have a picture of them. I actually added them to my presentation because I had heard about them in one of my early workshops. And I finally, have you been to their headquarters?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I had only done that in the last couple months. Can I tell you one other really cool thing that they do?
Oh yes, please.
Which maybe you did this too at your mortgage company. They really wanted to encourage people to do gratitude journals. So they created a gratitude journal. It's called their happiness journal, but it's essentially keeping track of gratitude. And they really wanted their employees to participate in doing this because they knew the science behind that would make them happier and more,
Sure, all
everything.
Yeah.
But they also made an incentive that if you filled it out and completed it, you'd be entered in a raffle for a trip to Hawaii with you and a significant other one. How much percentage do you think they had of participation?
Wow.
They incentivized what they really wanted, the behavior that their employees would do anyway, to something that they basically got 100%.
And you know how hard it is to start those.
Yeah.
That once you get into it, you're like, this is great, and you're into it and you do it. But it's that first, couple weeks to make it the habit.
Exactly.
The 21
I think it was
days
30.
or whatever.
I think it was a 30-day.
That is
journal.
fantastic.
I know. So I took pictures of that. I was really excited.
Yeah.
So, and I guess they ended up giving out some of those journals around the city city too, to encourage other people just to put their name out there as well. So.
That's a fabulous idea.
Yeah.
One, wonderful marketing.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and two, they're getting the results that they want.
Exactly.
Keeping happy people. Everybody I've ever talked to loved working
And they've been
there.
growing like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they went from a couple hundred people to several hundred. I think they're over 600 employees now.
Wow, good
So
for
that's
them.
my point, is that if you increase that culture of kindness, you definitely have a culture that's going to be growing and successful, bottom line. Do you know about Zappos? Are you a Zappos shoe shopper?
I am not as. I
Okay.
know Zappos is fabulous. I don't shop on there
They
that
have
often.
a culture too. So, I mean, I just got their 20th anniversary just happened, and I just happened to get a box of theirs with their cultural norms on the side of the box, many of which are kind of kindness related, which could seem like marketing, but it's like, if this is the company, and they have built their company exponential, even though somebody told the original Tony Heisa that he would never make a company sell shoes online. Who's
Yeah.
going to buy your shoes online? Thank goodness he didn't stop there. So, yeah.
Well, and then Chewy also is the
I've heard
dog
about
food
Chewy.
company
Yeah.
too. I've had so many great experiences
Okay.
with them.
Yeah.
I had a dog that passed away, and so I had the dog food on regular deliver,
Yeah.
and so I called
Yeah.
said, I'm sorry, but please stop the delivery. Donate my bag this
Yeah.
time to whomever, and they sent me flowers.
Really?
They sent me flowers with a card. We're so sorry about the dog's passing, and
Wow,
talk about
that's customer service.
that's customer service.
That's going beyond, because that's actually treating you like you're a human being. They know that losing a pet is so huge.
Yes.
Wow, I love that.
I know. Oh my God, I feel better just talking about what everybody else is doing through kindness.
I know.
Isn't it wonderful?
I know. It's good. It's good. I know. That's why I'm loving what I'm doing these days. 'Cause it really feels like I get to be the kindness catalyst, but I also get to help you catalyst too what's happening in your
And it
workplace.
just spreads and spreads and spreads.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Linda.
so much fun.
Yeah,
Fun
you were
getting out.
one of my favorite people on the planet.
Aw,
So I
good.
will put all of Linda's contact information in the little write up for the podcast.
Thank you.
If you have an opportunity or you need a speaker, you have to book her. She is the best of the best, and
Thank
you
you.
will not be disappointed. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
I hope
so
you
much.
come back sometime and we'll talk about money too.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, good.